Hey there, my name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another IKEA hack. You guys know I love a good IKEA hack, and I really think you're going to love this one. I'm using the Kopang dresser from IKEA. This currently retails at IKEA for $129.99. And while I unpack this, let me show you the look that I'm going for. I recently painted our master bedroom white, and I knew I wanted to have some black nightstands. I got on Pinterest, found some looks that I really liked. I liked having the 3 drawers. I liked the black nightstand with the gold knob. I love that look. What I realized was that these are quite large. I needed to have something substantial, so I started kind of shopping around. This one from McGee & Company is $2,700, and it's exactly the size that I need, but it is $2,700 just for one. Then here's another similar one. This one's actually a little bit less at $1,900, and this one is also from McGee & Company. I could not find anything with this look for much less. And when you need 2 and you need to stay on a budget, you have to start thinking outside of the box. So as always, I tried to buy used. I searched Facebook Marketplace for a matching set of nightstands that I could make over. I went to antique stores, I went to estate sales, I went thrifting, and I was coming up empty-handed. So I turned to IKEA and I found these Kopang dressers, and I thought, this looks just like one of those nightstands. I can make this work. I can add trim, I can prime it, I can paint it, I can change the knobs, I can make it look just as good as one of those $2,000 nightstands. So here we go. First thing I did to get started on this was just unpacked everything that I got from IKEA. The Kopang dresser comes in 2 different packages. One of them is actually extremely heavy. And then I just laid everything out flat. So I did decide to paint everything before I put it together. So that is time consuming. You need to have the space to do this. I suggest finding a place in your home where you can lay everything out and you can let it dry. I have a large basement, so this area works really great for me. Everything I'm using today is going to be linked below in the description box. I'm laying this paper. I love this paper. I use it anytime I'm painting, whether it's the walls, trim, or if I'm working on a project. It always lays flat. It's super, super thick. It's just really easy to use. And I'm also just using some spare 2x4s that I have so that I can set all of these pieces up just a couple inches, and that way I'm able to paint the sides as well as the surface, and I'm able to move a lot faster. Now I want everything to be painted and all to be black and seamless, so I am removing this warning sticker here on one of the drawer sides. It is warning you to make sure that you attach your piece of furniture to the wall because it could fall and it could potentially hurt a child. So I'm making sure that I note this and I attach my furniture to the walls, but I'm also going to remove it. So I'm peeling it off. I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol to get the rest of it off. Do this at your own discretion. Now I'm going the traditional way to paint IKEA furniture, and that is using the Ben Zinsser shellac primer. I will say I am planning to try a different primer. I do have 2 of these to do, so on the second one I'm going to try a different primer. I'm going to do a comparative video because I've heard really good things about this other primer, and when that is up I will put a card right here and I will link it below. But for now I'm going to go tried and true with the Ben shellac primer. This is hard to see on white furniture because it is white itself. So I always do 2 coats of this just to make sure I hit every little piece, because if you miss one little spot, your paint will not stick. This stuff has very high VOCs. You want to make sure you protect yourself, work in a well-ventilated area. I also wear a respirator when I'm using this primer. Just using a foam roller for this. You can use any roller that is made to be applied onto flat and smooth surfaces. The great thing about this stuff is it has a really fast dry time. 45 minutes later, you can add another coat or flip it over and paint the other side. So I was able to work through this part pretty quickly. Once I had everything primed, I was able to start working on the trim for the drawers. Now I am using some cabinet and trim molding that I got from Home Depot. This stuff was pretty inexpensive. It was only $7.58 for a 8-foot length. I'm using my miter saw to miter my edges so that I can make pretty much what's going to look like a picture frame on each drawer. I'm cutting it to be about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the width and height of the drawer because I want it to fit right on the surface in the front of that drawer. I don't want it to overlap on the edges. Once all of my trim is cut and dry fit for the front of my drawers, I'm just going to use my nail gun to nail them in. I'm not using an adhesive for this. I'm just going to nail them in because this trim is just so straight and flat. It seems completely sufficient to me. I don't feel like I need to use an adhesive. The nails that I'm using are pretty short. They're only 5/8 of an inch long. I do not suggest using anything longer than that. If you do, it could come through the back of your drawer. Now is the fun part, painting. I am using a leftover can of Benjamin Moore's Regal in black in a pearl finish. I happen to have this already and it's the perfect color for what I was going for. You have a lot of options when choosing paint for this. I do suggest using something that either has a built-in top coat or using a top coat. Fusion mineral paint would also be a really great choice for this. Now for the trim, I am using a brush just like I did with the primer, just because it is decorative and there are some grooves and places that a roller cannot get to. But I will be rolling everything else out with a roller, and I did have to do 2 coats on every piece. The knobs that came with this dresser are black. I'm actually just using some Rub and Buff and wiping it on to give it a gold look. I think eventually I'd like to replace these with really nice brass knobs, but this is a really great solution in the meantime. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next one.